Now, don't get me wrong, I love seeing women shine in all their God-given talents, but lately it seems like we've been handed these glittery girl boss labels, implying that true success is about never stopping and always grinding. You know what I mean, right? It's like the whole world is shouting for us to hustle harder, aim higher, and push further. And honestly, it can be downright exhausting to think that unless we're juggling a dozen successes outside of our home, we might somehow be falling short. But here's the sparkling truth we can't overlook. The grace that God pours into our lives is so much more fulfilling than the constant grind. Grace over grind. Just let that sit on your heart for a moment. What a sweet reminder that we don't have to earn our worth through frantic pace or chasing after what the world calls making it. You see, when we embrace grace, we're walking hand in hand with what God has in store for our lives. We're living in the freedom of knowing that our value isn't measured by our productivity or titles before our names. Remember Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30? Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." How beautiful is that? He's offering us a life that's not about heavy burdens, but about restfulness in our spirits. It strikes me that sometimes the girl boss mantra can unintentionally tie a tight knot around our identity, making us believe that we must run on the hamster wheel of achievement. It's not about slowing our stride in the race God has set before us, but knowing that our pace is set by His loving hands, not by the world's stopwatch. Let's consider the Proverbs 31 woman. She's often seen as the ultimate girl boss, right? But her strength lies in her fear of the Lord and her care for her family and home, all done with a gracious spirit, not a grinding one. She serves diligently, loves fiercely, and works wisely, but all through the ebb and flow of God's grace, not through grinding herself down to a frazzle. So how exactly do we go about making a financial impact as a Christian woman without just being consumed by that whole hustle culture? I think there's a lot to be said on the topic if we're being honest, but there's a few points that really stood out to me when thinking about this idea of grace over grind. And the first one would be to learn to be frugal and resourceful. I have said it so many times when talking with women about what it means to not just think you have to live for career or, you have no worth if you're not out there bringing in a steady paycheck or making the big bucks, whatever you might have thought before. It's usually quite simple to nearly save as much as you would need to make in order to make some changes, right? Shift your focus to home, not be so busy working, not think that you need to hustle and grind and be a boss babe to make it in this life. We can be frugal. We live in one of the most wasteful times. And when we really start to look at ways that we can trim down our family's budgets, you would be amazed what a little bit of resourcefulness can do as far as what you think you need to get by and live a lovely life. The second thing would be get organized. I'm telling you, this makes such a big difference. Whether you are working from home, you work part-time, you work full-time, you're a full-time stay-at-home wife and mom, whatever it might be, organization is always going to be really important. I know for me, I've been doing a lot of this myself lately because I started noticing ways that I wasn't having the financial impact to be that supportive role in my family life because I was kind of just unorganized. I wasn't menu planning. I was then spending more money because I didn't have it all put together. I was trying to keep up on things like just bills and life and things around the home, and I was constantly losing stuff. I didn't have a place for it. I didn't have a good system. Having a setup where I came in and I carved out a little corner of my husband's home office. I got myself a desk. I got myself set up. I organized my stuff on my shelves. I kind of have a file cabinet here with all of my things in it so that way I can be efficient. I can have a bigger impact to support my husband, our family, and to live out my role here by being that helper, by putting those pieces together, by allowing the Lord to work through me and whatever gifts and talents I might have. But having it all organized and put together gives me this efficient, strong foundation to launch off of as I truly strive to do to the best of my ability and have a positive impact here, even in a financial sense, for our family. And so I know for me, taking a few minutes to pull some pieces together, to carve out a little space in our home. It didn't have to be extravagant. It's nothing incredibly fancy. I'm literally in the corner of my husband's home office, but I have this little cubicle I've made for myself. So that way I have a space I can go sit down. I can do the things, I can plan out the stuff, I can pay the bills, I can put some focus and prayer into what it is that I'm doing. And maybe it's time for you to do the same. Don't worry, I'll leave some links down below of what I've used. If you're in need of something and you're like, yeah, I should probably get a little organized, I got your back. It's down there. The next thing that you can do is to really be intentional and look for opportunity to build a cottage industry as a family. There's so many ways, especially in this day and age, that you can, as a family, from the comfort of your own home, start building up some financial funnels, right? Whether your husband works, maybe you're looking to start to be home and not have to work outside of the house, or maybe you're just looking for a little extra cash to make the ends meet a little better. I get it. Wherever you're at on that, we have so many opportunities in this day and age where you can find ways to include the whole family, to still be at home, to keep your priorities straight, to not feel like you're just hustling and running this incredible race that you'll never reach the end of. There are a lot of neat opportunities out there, and there's simple things. We raise chickens, we can sell eggs, right? There's simple ways we can do stuff. Growing flowers, we did that last year, and being able to sell them at the farmer's market. There's lots of things online, and just, I don't know. I'm not going to make the whole video about this. If you'd like to learn more and look for ideas of cottage industry, things from the home that the whole family can be involved in, leave me a comment down below. Just say cottage industry, right? If that's something that you would like to know more about, we can always do a dedicated video for that. But I think when we're thinking of biblical women making a financial impact, but not falling for the lies of that whole boss babe hustle culture, there are a lot of options. And maybe they're not as trendy as some of the others, but it doesn't make them any less. They have great earning potential, but more importantly, it allows you to keep that focus on where it should be and not feel like you have to live for that hustle trap that the world might be calling you to do. And last but certainly not least, keep your focus on your true worth. I know there's so many things out there and so many women that have amazing followings and huge channels, and they post on Instagram the best of things and life looks so perfect, right? They look like the amazing, wife, mom, they're super fit, they've got a ton of money, and they're slaying the day with their whole boss babe culture. And I get it. And if that works for them, it works for you. Fantastic. Praise God. If that's truly what's working, then that's great. I know I fell into that lie before. I fell into that lie that I needed to be the boss babe. I had the company. I had the Mercedes Benz. I had the 6-figure income, right? I had all the things and it looked fantastic. People were always so amazed. Oh, and you homeschool your kids and you do the things, how do you do it all? The truth is you don't. My priorities were severely out of line. Sure, things looked good, and on the surface, I thought they were good in many ways. And then the Lord pursued me. And the more I dug in, the more I looked at these things, I saw that, again, where the beauty of the Proverbs 31 woman came from wasn't that she was selling the biggest real estate deals and making the most at the market. That wasn't it. And then I started reflecting on that for my own life and going, wow, I'm so focused and winning so much up over here in this boss babe culture, but I'm tired and I'm empty and I crave simplicity, and I want to be present with my kids, and I want to grow in the knowledge of the Lord and live that out in my life. I want to understand what my true worth is, because our worth does not come from those external sources that we might feel it does. Those leave you empty, always chasing more, never feeling content. And that's not at all what the Lord has for us. And so if you want to just dig in a little bit deeper, right? Where do we find that worth? Where do we find that true contentment, that wholeness that only God can provide? Go ahead and watch this video right up here. And I think it will truly be something that might bless you and really start kind of prompting that in you to say, let's dig into truth. Let's dig into God's word, and let's come to a greater understanding as we seek to be that woman that the Lord, right, looks at and says, well done. That is what I'm looking for. That is what is precious. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I'll see you over in that video.